Mate, what is with all these NRL fantasy podcasts? They all sound the fucking same. Welcome to the echo chamber.
It's round 7 with the echo chamber, and we have a clanger of a team list this week. Round 7 with Eddy and JZ. How are you going, Eddy?
Oh, I fucking can't complain. Bit of a mediocre week, but can't complain. I held rank. Need to start increasing it, but it could be worse. James Fisher-Harris was a savage blow. That sort of ruined my weekend, but apart from that, sweet as.
Yeah, I think JZ just sucked all the life out of my team this week. He sucked away my safe half points, my JFH points. I think he beat me by about 150 in the head-to-head and was top of our league, and I was the bottom. So, what do you reckon, JZ?
That's a hiding in a half.
I had a pretty good week. I'm still kicking myself over not captaining Terrell May. I was so high on him the whole week, and then I just went Cleary last minute and was like, yeah, it's got the Dolphins. Surely the Panthers can't lose again. And then, they didn't just lose; they got belted basically.
How frustrating, hey, was the inability to pass left? Like, I was just... And then every time Jenkins actually got the ball, he'd decide to kick it. Just sack a ball.
Yeah, and he's clearly not a good left foot kicker. They were both just absolute shockers.
It's fucking Casey.
He was, yeah. Look, he bombed one, but it was a difficult play. But I think Blaze had one where it was just the easiest pass of all time, and Jenkins would have strolled over, and he didn't pass him the ball. That was very annoying to watch.
Blaze had fucking a few fuck ups like that actually in that game. I thought he actually played quite poorly.
I thought he was really bad. I'm actually shocked to see him named in the team. I don't know how you can watch that game and think, yep, you know what, Blaze is our 6 moving forward. Because he was really bad.
I was surprised he went 30 plus in the fantasy points, because watching I was like, fuck, this counts fucking up to fuck all. I thought he'd be on 16 or something.
It's because he won't pass the ball, so all the points go to himself.
Yeah. Instead, they ended up dropping the other centre, Tonga, onto the bench, so that's a bit of a funny one. Yeah, well, we'll race through this game and the rest of them have a bit of a yarn. But, Yo Captainers, if there's any left out there, would have been pretty happy with the 78. Hammer, though, that was a brilliant performance by him, but it's points chasing to try and buy him at 600k. He's not going to score you 91 every week.
The problem with him is I'm pretty sure he'll play Origin, and with his buy schedule, that means he misses fucking 5 games over Origin or some shit. So, he's a definite avoid.
Yeah, I agree. I suppose we've got to have a conversation around Nathan Cleary now. If the Panthers are going to be this bad, or at least bad for a good while, what are we actually going to expect out of him? Because he's struggled to another 50, and he's only really had that one big game so far. We keep him. He's not a sell, but is he that guy anymore if the Panthers have dropped this far?
He'll come good eventually. Good enough anyway. Panthers aren't going to go back to what they were, but I do think they'll turn around. I've given up on predicting it to be this week, but he'll be straight. He's going to be a gun. If you don't have him at his price, I'd still buy him.
There's a real chance that he's just a low 60s guy this year. I mean, he'll probably have a breakout game at some point. If you look at his career, he pretty much scores a try every 4 games, and he's well overdue this season. It'll happen at some point. I don't think the Panthers are going to be the powerhouse they were, but it's almost better for him, almost theoretically speaking, for the Panthers to be worse and for him to have to run the ball more, kick the ball more. It means he's getting more kick meters, probably more run meters. He's almost ran for 100 meters every game this season. And you can tell he's really having a dig. It's just, when is it going to happen for him? He'll score a try every now and then, but at the moment he's just getting try assists off kicks, and that's not really helping his fantasy output.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be captaining him ahead of May until you see it improve. But yeah, I'd be happy to buy him if I didn't already have him. Just
Yeah,
the
I think
fear
Terrell
of him,
May is a no-brainer. Like he's almost got like a 70 every week. He hasn't scored a try yet either, and we know he can. Like he's had a couple of games where he scored tries for the Roosters. So, man, he's got 100 somewhere.
Well, with May, you basically know you're getting a 65 plus every week. So until Cleary gives you reason to captain him, and I mean actual reason, like he's just gone boom, or not just he's playing against the Titans this week. Oh, that's 100. Fucking because which is how people think. Fucking because, yeah, until he gives you reason to, I don't see why I'd stray off someone like May's guaranteed 65.
Yeah. And he might be someone that does buck that curve of this season's matchups where you can't predict anything, because the Eels are one that you can pretty much rely on to be not great. And that's who May is playing this week. I did a captaincy poll in JBFA earlier. Lachlan Galvin is currently in second place on 16%, and May's 60%. Cleary and Haas are floating about 10. So a lot are jumping back on May.
Yeah, there's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to everything in the fantasy community. I mean, 2 weeks ago, everyone had Haas locked in as captain for the rest of the season. 2 bad scores later, and look, don't get me wrong, Terrell May's lowest score is a 51 in a game where they got flogged and there were 70 points scored. So it's really easy to see him being the best captaincy option for the foreseeable future, but there will be weeks where Haas and Cleary score 90 plus. Haas has already done it this season. He's pretty much averaging the same as Terrell at this point. It's going to be really interesting. Like it's changed fantasy this season. Like you get your captain right, that's almost an extra 20, 30 points a week at this stage, especially when guys like Cleary and Haas have 50s and 40s in them.
Yeah, I just don't own Haas, so the decision to leave it on May is real easy for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're ranked in the 40,000s, then yeah.
Hey, I'm not in the 40,000s. Come on,
mate. May as well be, mate.
I'm speeding up towards there. I've gone from inside top 2K to 6.6 after last week, which was pretty disgusting. But
brutal.
Yeah. That last game was Seyfarth. Greg was on like 20 in 20 minutes, then just didn't do anything.
Oh yeah, you were shit kind of the week, eh?
Yeah, I was equal. I was equal with Sam, first in historical moment, and JZ was top. So it was pretty much a shellacking in our head-to-head.
Yeah, it's funny what a week in fantasy does, right? Like last week, I was almost like, why the fuck did I buy Dave Fifita? This is retarded. Like, I could have just bought Siwa Wong, and then he came out and scored 90 points, and I'm a fucking genius. Like, come on, man. Get around me.
It just follows you. Like, it's really hilarious, but it's frustrating at this point because all of your predictions are coming true. Like, nah, Seyfarth is definitely going to stay there. And he does, but then he starts scoring 30s and 20s.
It was thought out the way you did it, though, because as we all agreed at the time, like we all know that Fifita soon enough is going to be starting, and you just said that you were willing to bite the bullet and jump on a bit earlier than everyone else, and it paid off.
Look, as much as this sounds like absolute horseshit, part of my reasoning was like Dave Fifita is one of the most elite scorers in fantasy history. And I pretty much said to myself, like, at some point this season, he's going to score a 90, where he just comes out and scores 2 tries. And like last week, he got moved to the starting squad last minute. And I was like, I've missed Siwa Wong. I'm just going to take a punt. Fuck it. He had the Finns last week, St. George this week, and I think he's got another soft matchup this week. So it was a punt, but like it's a punt on a guy we know is an elite fantasy scorer. It's not like I was taking a punt on some fucking random second rower who's 3 games into his career. Like there's enough of a sample size with Dave Fifita to say he's like a 60 average second rower.
And He's one of those players like Haas that when they're fucking having a fucking belter of a game, it's so painful to watch if you don't own him. Like at least if someone like Couchman or something you don't have is having a good scoring game, like you sort of you can not notice it because he's just clocking up tackles. But fucking when Fifita's fucking carving, you fucking notice it.
Oh, yeah, that's how I felt about Terrell May in the last like 15 minutes of the Knights game. He was just offloading for almost no reason. He would just run into the line, throw the ball up behind him 3 meters, nothing would happen. But like it was just 6 fantasy points every time he did it.
Yeah, and he even had a run that almost reminded me of Turbo's crazy run in 2021 where he broke about 9 tackles and scored. He just belted across the field, palmed about 5 blokes and offloaded to someone else. I'm just like, I got to get him in this week. But yeah, 92 without a try. 10 tackle breaks, 4 offloads to hand, 200 run meters. That is what Dave Fifita can do. And they lost by 22 points.
Yeah, I can't say I saw that coming. Like, obviously he can score 90, but I would have assumed a try would have been involved. And that play you're talking about was actually really funny because he didn't even think the ball was coming to him. The ball kind of accidentally landed in his hand and he palmed a bloke and ended up like running sideways, beating 6 players and offloading the ball and they scored. Off their own kickoff. Like that's some absurd shit.
The thing with Fifita as well is like while he can sometimes go through quiet periods, you can tell when they are. Like he doesn't go like 90, then 30, then 80, then 25. Like he'll just have quiet periods for a while, but then when he's looking good, he'll generally be consistently good for quite a while. And last week he looked fucking good.
The big thing with him is that like he's a very on and off player, almost like a Latrell Mitchell, where there are some games where all they want is to get the ball and bowl over 4 blokes every time they touch it and offload at will. And then there are games where he goes missing. Like the game against the Dolphins the week before, he had, I think, 6 runs for 60 meters. It was one of the most disengaged games I've ever seen a guy as good as him play. And when he comes out and plays like he did against St. George, like you could tell early on, he was taking hit ups from the backfield. He was really getting in there, and you knew he was in for a big game. So, good signs. If he can keep that up, he's like we know what he is. He's a 60 average second rower with upside of 100 plus.
Yeah, he's out of fucking second gear now, so I think you'll find he'll be sweet for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just get on him. Don't wait. Fucking Fifita's not going to be cheaper than this again this year. Like, no sitting and watching and let's see if he can do it again. Like, just go get him before he gets expensive again, and you've just missed out on the whole thing.
Yeah, 668k, made 40k last week already. Just get on.
Yeah, what do you want him to go back to his original price before you pull the trigger?
Yeah. So. One of the other relevant things in this game, Cook also played 80, which was kind of interesting. But Tuipulotu got injured.
Center.
Yeah, Damien Cook, Origin center. But Brimson hit his 3rd good score in a row. Yes, with a try. What are our reads on him now? Because he's sort of come good a bit, but he's still not got that massive kick meter split. JC's basically hogging it all now, which is interesting.
Yeah, he's fine. Like he's not exciting. He's like barely averaging 40, and he scored 4 tries in the last 3 games. But
I've had him all season, and he's started to pay me back a little bit lately. But I'd still like. As of last week, I'm still sitting there wondering if I want to play him in my fucking 17 fucking for the week. So I wouldn't be rushing out to go buy him if you didn't already own him, especially when he doesn't play round 12. I think if you don't own him, I'd leave him alone. If you do own him, hold him for a bit until he starts losing money again, then just fuck him off.
Yeah, he's a pretty easy hold. Like he's not exciting. You want to see your halves when they score tries to go big. But I mean, hey, even DCE is only really scoring 50s with tries these days, so I wouldn't be too concerned.
No, but I just wouldn't call him a buy, that's all.
Nah, I
Nah.
agree with that.
No. Firma's back at edge, though, with Jojo Fifita back in, which will be interesting for Firma bottoming out soon. But other than that, nothing super interesting out of that game for me. It's just the big dogs.
Yeah, and Firma's going to be a buy probably after next week, but he's got Canberra this weekend. He was named to start last week as well, so there's no guarantee that Des doesn't pull some last minute shenanigans again. Heck, David Fifita could be on the bench come Sunday 2:00. It's he doesn't ever name the squad that runs out.
I don't think Dave. I'd be surprised if David Fifita doesn't start this time. That'd be pretty weird after last week.
Yep. All right. Next game that happened was the Roosters upsetting the Broncos. I did think the Roosters would get close. I just didn't think it'd be quite the way that it actually turned out. Haas played good minutes and top scored. That was still only 58. Teddy, however, is starting to motor along a bit. Is he going to play Origin, though, considering how some of the other options are going? I'm probably not going to touch him until after the Roosters bye, at least.
Oh, sorry?
Teddy.
At his price, I think he's just going to float around similar prices for a while. They've got a buy in round 10. I'm sure everybody that's listening has multiple Roosters in their team. I definitely think you can wait till closer to Origin to pull the trigger on him. Maybe even wait until round 12 and make sure he's not named. But because you got the buy in round 10, then why bother picking him up in 11 when you can just wait till 12 and see if he's named? I think it's a no-brainer to wait till then.
I agree with that. I think there is a real chance that the Blues go back to Teddy. Like, he's been probably the best fullback in the league this season, even in a bad Roosters side.
If it was the same coach as last year, because it's not, it's a new coach, right?
It's a new coach, yeah. It's Laurie Daly.
Yeah, so if it was the same coach as last year, I definitely would assume that it's Edwards. But, I mean, new coaches like to put their own stamps on things and shit, so who knows?
Yeah, and Edwards could just cop a small knock next week or something, and Teddy's back in. Like, he's definitely at least the number 2 option, and there's a real chance he's the number 1.
Yep. So, yeah, just wait till round 12.
Yep.
Do something else.
Yep, agree that. Connor Watson got a huge late update with that try assist being given to him and a few tackle breaks to get to 44, which annoyed me a lot considering it pushed me down about 600 ranks. But other than that, it's not. Hugo Savala scored 33 and 80, few missed tackles, but kicked about probably 80% of the kick meters. And he's the basement guy to look for at the moment.
Yeah,
he looked good.
You go, JZ.
He looked really good. Like, he was a pretty steady hand. It was obvious that they're sort of easing him into the 7 role. Like, they obviously said to him, just kick us around the park and let us take control, because obviously Watson and Teddy sort of had a bigger playmaking game. And he'll only get better. The more time he gets to spend in first grade, the more running he'll get to do, the more attacking options he'll get to throw. So it's a bit steady. I'm not bringing him in this week personally, but I can't knock anyone that does. I think he's got about a 50 average in cup, so he could hit his break even.
Yeah, with Savala, it's simple. If you need the cash from cashing out to him this week to do your other trades, then get him now. Otherwise, just wait another week, because I don't think he's going to make a single dime, so there's no hurry at all. And which means you're waiting another week. It's another week where you're making sure he's not injured, another week where you're making sure he's selected. But yeah, if you do need the cash, then yeah, just go get him. It's fine.
Yeah, agree. He's not going to race away. He scored -4 the round before this one, so he's not going to race away or anything. Nafahu White finally let us down, and just him and Wong both scoring low 30s. If you had one, it wasn't great. If you had both, it just was not a fun week at all.
Yeah, this is like
try to keep in mind that this was a game when everybody scored bad, though. Like, you just say Painthouse top scored with a 58. Like, that's quite a low top score. There's a lot of low scores across the board in there.
Yeah, you're right with that, but I mean, there's a lot of Roosters games, not this year, but in the past, there's a lot of Roosters games that go like this, where everyone scores poorly because they either drop the ball a ton or they score a lot of points or whatever reason. This is like historically how a lot of Roosters games go. They aren't really the ball doesn't get kept in play that much in Roosters games, which has happened in the past. But guys like White and Wong have benefited from that recently, and this is kind of what I'm hoping happens to all these Roosters guys going forward. I only own Sandon and Toya, so hopefully Toya can get some attacking stats. But also, where the fuck are his turnovers?
Oh, fuck knows. Yeah, I think I read somewhere that the ball was only in play for like 22 minutes in the first half or something, which is pretty fucking gross. I mean, this is supposed to be league, not union. There ain't no fucking fully contested scrums that are getting reset and collapsing and chewing up time with lineouts and shit. Fuck, there shouldn't be fucking that much downtime, mate. It's not fucking American football.
26.
There are a lot of errors in this game.
26 I just counted if my maths is right, so that's pretty stop-start.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I reckon they'll all bounce back and be sweet.
Yeah, it should be better at least. I played Toya because I thought there might be a good matchup with the centres and the edges, but just didn't turn out that way because of the erroneous nature, and Kautonga outscored him by 30. So there you go. Move over to Sharks v Manly. Sharks just came home over the top by 6 points, and Tommy Hazelton, surprise, surprise, went over the try line again, top scoring with a 67. So good on him. Brooks and DC there. Garrick had another good one. Hines scored 50, but it's really just the main names. Nick Garra's base is pretty ordinary this year. I don't know if I really like him, even as a pickup later in the season.
Yeah, just leave him be for now. He's got too many low scores in him that'll stop his money getting away. He's just good when he goes on hot streaks, and I don't know, the vibes aren't there for him at the moment, especially to pay like almost $650 for him or whatever he is.
Yeah, Cronulla will be strong come the back end of the season if they keep the guys on the park and other teams start to get a bit battered and bruised. But this was a bludger of a game. Jeez, this was not a fun watch from two sides that should be competing for the top four.
Nickera goes on hot runs where he averages like 40 tackles and 130 run meters a game, which comes with attacking stats. And when he's not on those hot runs, those numbers can be quite a bit lower, and he might be tackling like 30 for 30 and only running for 70. And when he's doing that, he just doesn't fucking consistently get the good scores. And that's where we are with him at the moment.
Yeah. He kind of tried to split the difference early season and not do any base but score tries. And now without tries, he's had a couple of low ones.
So you just leave him be.
Yep.
Yeah, look at him around Origin maybe. They actually have pretty good buys, Cronulla.
Yeah,
just look at him if he gets to
Yeah.
Just look at him if he gets to a price that's appealing, and $650 or whatever he is now, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's tough. Rabbits v Cowboys. Cowboys came over with 24-16, and Jackson Purdue is quickly becoming the bane of my fantasy existence because I didn't pick him or Shibasaki.
That guy.
And in the last 3 weeks, he's shown why he's been picked, and he's gone straight up to 200k made.
Yeah, I'm sick of that little cunt.
It's kind of crazy. Like, he got exposed really hard in round 1 and 2 as a guy that didn't know how to defend. And the last couple of weeks, teams just haven't ran at him. So he's just sort of been able to get away. Like, don't get me wrong, he's an exceptional footballer. He's so quick, really, really sharp around the ball. But boys, just fucking send all the traffic down his way. He can't tackle. Like, we saw how bad his positioning was. Like, he hasn't suddenly become like Mark Gasnier or Matt Cooper.
He's a little
run
bloke.
the footy at him. Yeah, he's very, very lean.
I mean, do you want to fucking run it at the second row or do you want to run it at him?
Yeah, exactly. It was, I don't know, baffling.
Yeah. Well, we had Latrell at 5'8" for this one, had a few assists and 715 kick meters, which was interesting. But we got, I think Walker's back this week and Sullivan's only a week out from suspension as well. So we'll see how long that lasts. And yeah, that's another thing. Lamazula stopped scoring 30s, which was great. Fubner 42. Kolomatangi sort of flowed off. Are they going to give Nano 80 minutes, or is this just going to be the role now? Are they just going to play O'Donnell for 50 and Nano's going to come on and play 50 as well?
It's working. Why change what works? Because I'm pretty sure McIntyre started this game in the second row because Bateman was out. So, I mean, Nano's been good off the interchange. So until it stops working, I think they'll keep it that way.
Yep. Yeah. And Owen 8 can watch because, well, he's back and he scores well at centre and edge. Just watch his price and watch his positioning as the Rabbitohs get ball players back.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying he didn't get dual position today because was he named in the centres again? Yeah, he was. 2 games of he's played only centre this season. Why does he not have the dual position added to his? Considering
his history, you would have thought it'd be a lot easier for him to get centre dual.
Yeah, he's a guy that's played. He's probably played most of his career at centre, to be honest. That's a real strange one.
Come back and take a look at him in round 13, in my opinion. After the first major bye, because then they play the next two. They play the next 2 majors after that. So he's just a one to check out later, I reckon.
Yep, that's a good one. And then we had a game that didn't exist because they aren't a team, and the Raiders put 50 on the Eels. It was a bit painful watching Kautonga be the only Eel that did well, and they gave Nicholson a try right near the end to just add more points that I didn't know. But yeah, fair play to the Nicholson buyers. He's made that 150k in those 3 weeks, so well done.
And got some points along the way.
Yep.
Yeah, bit of a bludger of a game, this one. Canberra look good, Parramatta don't.
Pretty much. Fogarty only made 14 tackles as a result, so 53 with 7 goals. Bit how you doing, but that's what Fogarty will do. He'll either kick a lot, score a lot of goals, or make a lot of tackles, depending on whether they're winning or not.
Yeah, you can almost bank on like a 50 to 55 from him. He was on 35 at halftime. I actually brought him in last week, and he had really bad cramps at the end of the game, and they had 2 absolute sitters, like right in front of the post that KOX got to kick because he had fucking cramps. I was most upset about that.
Yeah, that'd be frustrating.
Yeah.
Just 4 points gone begging.
He's scored exactly 55 3 times already this season. He's just the 55 guy.
Yeah. No, and he's still a good pickup if you're keen on him.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the rotation just isn't working. It's time to move on from Hopgood now, unfortunately. 38, 47 minutes. He was doing okay, and then they just didn't put him on.
I'm actually probably holding him. It's not a happy hold, though.
No, with Moses back.
Yeah,
that was...
and someone pointed out to me that just before, you know how they got that penalty try, there was that penalty try towards the end of the game, like with, I don't know, like 15 minutes to go or something.
Yeah.
Just before that happened, Hopgood was standing on the side of the field with one of those fucking cards. And then, for whatever reason, when that penalty try happened, fucking they set him back down and didn't go ahead with the interchange. So I think he was going to play like fucking close to 60 minutes. Because if he'd gone on then, he wasn't coming back off again. I'm just going to stick with him because it's Hopgood. He's at 13. Like, I just figure eventually he's going to bottom out at some point. He's going to become a fucking buy and he's going to go all right. If he doesn't make Origin, he'll be a middle for me in fucking round 12. I'm just going to hold long term and just hope it works out for me all right. It's not necessarily what I'd recommend everyone else to do, but it's what I think I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love holding him, but like you said, he might be a
Don't get me
buy
wrong.
come Origin time. He's not making the Origin team. I think I can say that with a fair bit of confidence. His form's really bad at the moment, and when Madison came in, because Madison was on the bench, they effectively just swapped role. Like they effectively shared the lock minutes. So yeah, if Mattos are laid in again, which you can't do much about because he plays on Monday, it's probably not great for Hopgood.
Yeah, fuck it though. I'm just going to fucking hold with him long term, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. How long do we hold Tamale though? If the Raiders won't pass to him, 50 points and he scores 21, I was pretty disgusting.
It depends what he scores this week. If he gets if he gets a fucking 20 this week, then I'd be pretty keen to sell him next week. To be honest.
Yeah,
I'm thinking it's likely he's only in my team for another week or two.
I'm pretty high on him still. I think that game was just like you said. The ball didn't go his way. They didn't pass to him.
That's not a one-off though. That's what's happening at the moment. I mean, that's likely to happen again this week.
Yeah. And
Likely
Strange
to
had a
happen next
really
week.
good game too, so they'll probably go to Strange a little bit, and I don't know, that probably hurts Tamale more.
Well, Strange is on Tamale's side. Strange just doesn't give him the ball.
Yeah,
If it goes,
he'll be more of a
if they
ball
go,
hog because it worked.
well, and at the moment, Hudson Young's got the hot hands, so fucking most of the plays to the left are just fucking short balls to him or giving him early ball. Like it's not fucking hot ball out to the wing with cutout passes. I don't even know if fucking that number 6 can even throw cutout passes.
No, he loves a show and go. But I don't know. I'm pretty high on him still. I think he's a big tackle breaking winger, and Canberra are going to win a lot of games this year, and he'll benefit from it at some point. It's not happening now, but it's still a pretty small sample size we're looking at. And look, if he comes out scores another 20, then he probably has to go. But I'm certainly playing him this week. I don't really have that.
I'm playing him this week.
I don't have reservations over playing him, or I wouldn't trade him this week.
No, not this week. Not this week. Not this week. You got to give him another chance because if he goes out and gets a fucking 50 this week, then fucking he's an absolute hold for a while longer.
Yeah, it moves him along again.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much. Oh no, we've got more games. I just forgot about it because I switched off after that. But yes, Harry Grant. I just wish he'd turned one of those into a big score, a try and an assist, and then he kind of hurt himself a little bit, I think, and then he started missing a bunch of tackles. It kind of didn't go anywhere.
Oh, I think he was missing the tackles before he hurt himself. Yeah, he's a really frustrating own at the moment. He's obviously not a sell, but geez, he was inches away from being on 50 plus at halftime, where he went over, almost scored 2 tries in the first half. I think he was on about 38. To finish on 53 is just, it's not fun. That's a Harry Grant owner. Like, just go on with it one time, mate. Score a fucking 80 against the Dolphins this week, surely.
Yeah, his scoring has been somewhat comparable to Hopgood, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't really. I don't own him, but I'm just trying to avoid spending too much fucking trades on hookers this year. I could see people mucking around, swapping hookers around, and none of them end up being that great. So I'm just sort of wanting to run with what I've got at hooker as much as I can. Do you guys feel the same?
That's the thing. Like, if there was a hooker that was averaging 60, and they had the role for the whole season, then yeah, I could see selling him, but they're all sucking except for Wade Egan, who is like at any given moment 1 tackle away from scoring 3 points. So
yeah, and I know it's only round 7, but this is a pattern from last year too.
Yeah, and he went on and ended the year pretty hot, Harry. So I mean, it's not great, but surely at some point.
Yeah, give us a big one to make up for those early season 30s.
Yeah, I think if I owned Harry, I'd sort of just do what I'm doing with Hopgood and like get shitty and bitch about it when he gets those shitty scores, but just hold him long term and just hope it works out all right in the long run.
Munster had a bit of an exactly where he's priced game and did Cameron Munster things. He's just not breaking tackles this year and missing a lot. So it's just not quite working.
I'd be okay with people selling him. I think people, the projections set for him in preseason certainly need to be upgraded. Changed at this point. I don't think he's a 50-plus average guy anymore. I think he's an aging ball-running half, and this is probably the new normal.
I don't know if I agree. I think, like, obviously there's a decent enough sample size now, but he is a bit of a boom or bust player. He's just as likely to score an 80 as he is a, like, 20-odd. So I'm kind of just hoping it happens. Like, he's got two really good matchups coming up, and I know you hate matchups at the moment, Eddie, but I'd be giving him at least the Dolphins in the South Sydney game before selling him.
Yeah, it's not a rush to sell him. You're going to sell him before Origin. No, he's not a keeper, and he's certainly not worth bothering to hold through Origin. But he's not an urgent sell.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, he probably becomes my swap guy for Teddy, in all honesty, in round 12 or something.
Yeah, there'll be a few options around that time where he'd be an easy palm off.
Yeah, like you can sit on him easy enough, but like if you're wanting to upgrade someone and he's the only sort of one that's not really heading in the right direction, you could flick him off. But otherwise, you can sit on him all the way to round 12, and he'll just sort of plod along doing what he's doing. Won't hurt you.
Yeah. I tell you, it's a little bit annoying that although it's good for the Origin players, for the non-Origin players like Jerome Hughes, it's a little harder to buy them with those two major week buys because he's going to be so cheap in a few weeks because he's named again. I wasn't expecting that shoulder injury to be so minor. But yeah, we could get almost a sub 600k Jerome Hughes in a few weeks.
We will get a sub fucking 600k Jerome Hughes probably in 2 weeks. He's at what is it, like 648 or something? He's got like an 87 break even or some shit. Like he's probably going to be sub 600 in 2 weeks' time. And when he bottoms out, it's one of those ones where you don't want to get too obsessed about fucking the buys to where you turn down an obvious gift from the gods. And like if he drops down to like 580 or something, and his bottom even break even bottoms out, like you're a fucking idiot if you don't jump on that.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably not going to be what he was last year, but he doesn't need to be if he's sub 600k. So he's clearly just such a good player. Like you watch Melbourne with him versus Melbourne without him, and they're a completely different team. And I don't know if we could have said that even 2 years ago. Whereas now he's their main guy. Like he's the best player in the team. Won the Dally M last year, and like still looks every bit the damaging player he's been.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be an 800k player again, but I definitely think he'll get back up to 700.
You'd want to see him put it together at least 1 or 2 80-minute games, though. He's got one 80-minute game this season so far.
Yeah, well, you've got fucking probably 3 weeks of price drop to come before you worry about it anyway.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate how good Melbourne are because they're just resting their spine players every week. How is a team this much better than every other team that you can rest like your halfback and your hooker? And they rested Pappy last week when they were up against Manly. Like this team is way too good.
The Storm are just really good at getting the most out of players compared to other teams, and because of that, they're not so prone to fucking form, like players having form slumps and etc. as other teams would be.
Yeah, they're quite clearly the best team in the competition for me. I know the Dogs are top of the ladder, but Man,
But they don't have the firepower.
No.
Like not to the same extent Melbourne do. Defensive, they're yes, elite defensively. And their attack on its day can be all right, but like the Bulldogs on their best day versus Melbourne Storm on their best day, there's no question who wins, right?
Yeah, I mean, even to that point, it's not the Storm on their day. The games that Jerome Hughes has played, the lowest points they've scored is 30, and that was against the Panthers. They've got 56, 48, 42, and in the 48 and 42 games, he got early marks. So they're going to be a tough team to play if you're a struggling side.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Howarth did okay. Other than that, we pretty much talked those players over. Knights v Tigers, though. Terrell May was the captain option. 70 minutes, 83 points. Just he's now the offload king. Haas has stopped or slowed down a bit, and he's just him at the moment.
Yeah, not too much to talk to. I mean, Greg's been very disappointing on the field, at least. His fantasy scores haven't been fantastic either. Hopefully, he bounces back this week. But man, I think he's lucky to still be in first grade. I think it's just a lack of other options at the moment at Newcastle, which is probably poor planning that someone like him, after the games he's had, is still in the side. Like, what was it, 4 errors on the weekend? I think he might have had 5 against the Bulldogs. He's an absolute liability out there in defence at the moment. And while he's a strong carrier of the ball, he still dropped the footy like 3 times in yardage sets this week. It was real tough watch as a Greg owner.
And he's probably one of the worst winners in the whole comp when it comes to being under fucking kicks.
Oh, he absolutely is. I think he's caught 1 bomb in the last 2 weeks.
I wonder if that gives him a bunch of anxiety. It seems like it should.
I reckon it does. Like Adam O'Brien said in the post-match, that he just reckons half the side has the yips at the moment, and no player personifies that more than Greg. I think he's 2 weeks in a row where he's just landed on his face after he's jumped up for a bomb. And look, it's been because someone's been pushed into him, but the fact that he keeps doing it, it's almost, if you don't laugh, you'll cry at this point. At least he's still scoring 30s.
You can just imagine him fucking when they're on defense during the set, the dread builds as it gets closer to the final tackle. And he knows it's coming. Okay, there's still 2 more plays of the ball.
It's coming my way. He's not even getting a hand on them. He's not even getting a handle on them. He had 0 missed tackles last week.
Yeah. He's the type of winger that usually has 1 tackle a game. The fact that he's had like 4 and 5 the last couple, not even. 3 is his highest. He's got 2 games of 0 tackles. So, but the thing with him is that the bombs. It's not even when he's under pressure. It's if someone kicks the ball high at him, he has a chance to drop it, even if nobody else is around. That's how bad he is.
It reminds me of in like cricket. You've always got at least a couple of guys in your cricket team that are fucking hopeless fielders, and so you might just chuck them out on the boundary somewhere, and fucking when you watch a fucking sky ball come their way, you fucking the look of panic in their face and uncertainty, and don't get their body into the right position to catch the ball. It's just like that, eh?
Yeah. It's real. It's a real tough watch as a Knights fan. Like every time the ball goes his way, it's like, fuck, here we go again.
Yeah. And obviously every fucking kicker in the comp knows it.
Oh, yeah. After what the Dogs did to him, I think that's going to be the way forward for every single team. The Tigers didn't expose it as much, but fuck me, you watch what Bailey Hayward and Toby Sexton did to him, and there's no way you're not kicking to him every time.
I remember back when there were doubts about Brian To'o playing in Origin because he was short and they were worried about him under the high ball. Well, Brian To'o fucking looks like Israel Folau under the high ball compared to Mazu.
Yeah, Brian To'o is as safe as houses. I think whatever the opposite of that saying is what Greg Mazu is.
He's Brian To'o from Temu, strong, short, and can't catch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Brian To'o with a massive defect.
Yeah.
That's probably enough on Mazu.
I love him if you're listening, Greg, for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah, the edges did a bit better. Can't with a 56. He's done well. I think Lucas is supposed to be out from until about round 8 or 9. He sent through JZ, so there's probably at least one more, possibly two more with Can't. Pierce Paul looked pretty solid as well on the weekend for his 52, but he's a bit of an awkward price. Not sure if I really want to chase him.
Especially being that he's a second rower on the same week where Fifita's the hottest buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't be trading him in now. If you took the punt on him, well done. I mean, I didn't envision us dropping the ball every set, so he has to make 60 tackles a game, but it's happened that way, and as long as Newcastle keep playing this bad, there's going to be plenty of defence.
I mean, if you isolate him, he seems like a fine buy this week, but if you look at the reality of like, what team needs to get in a second row this week that's not Fifita? Nobody.
Even then, he's got like 2 weeks max. Like, if you got him 2 weeks ago, you're cheering, but you wouldn't bring him.
I'm talking about KPP, sorry.
Oh, yeah, KPP is pretty good. He looks fine.
But again, yeah, it's just Fifita, so.
Yeah, well, if you're a genius like me, you'd already have Fifita.
Yeah, that was a hot call. It was good. Yeah. How good's Toa been, though? 50 again, another try.
So good.
It's so good.
Oh, I can't believe the game Bradman Best had on the weekend. It was genuinely the worst game of his career. Like, that try that Toa scored, he had no right to score that.
Best can be prone to little periods of lower form, though. And I guess most of the time, if I probably looked into it, you'd probably find that it coincides with Newcastle's being in low form, which I guess is maybe he's falling victim to at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know what Best is. He's a beast of a player, but that was just not his day, I think you could say.
Well, the Knights can't score past until it gets to the 70th minute these days, and so I think that proves beyond all doubt that Lucas is the glue that holds this team together.
He's a big loss. Like, you say that as a joke, but he is such an attacking weapon on that edge. Like, it's almost like having another centre, but you know, he's defensively just as good as any back rower in the comp. So really missing him. And we have so many fucking middle forwards out at the moment that it's no excuse for the way they've been playing. Like, they've really just dropped the ball far too much. And when you drop the ball that much, you're not going to win any games. But yeah, there's a lot of players out.
Yeah, and Ponga's going to be a buy when they come back, but not when he's losing 60k and scoring high 20s at the moment, which is kind of shocking considering how scared I was and a lot of us were as non-Ponga owners at the beginning of the year.
Just like Jerome Hughes, wait for him to bottom out and then pick him up at that point.
Yep. Sayfath is a sell to Fifita.
Yeah,
JZ killed him. Well done, JZ.
Look, let me just say, I'm the only fucking bloke out here that said that guy was a massive fucking bum in preseason.
I can't remember you saying that.
Mate. Yeah, not once actually. I might have whispered it.
Yeah, he managed to stay there through lack of options. Yeah, he managed to stay there through lack of options, but made not even 75k, and now he's going backwards. It's pretty yuck when he can't do anything except tackle and miss tackles, except for one game where he did one thing.
Well, you don't think a back rower that plays 80 minutes and runs for 50 meters a game is elite?
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's my kind of back rower.
Rudely talked too much shit and ended up just jinxing him. Fucking
20 points of value, I was told in the preseason. Rudely and Beluga, the forgotten men who don't appear on podcasts anymore. The biggest Alex Sayfath advocates.
Yeah,
fucking Rudely.
Well, there's a better Alex there, and his name's Alex Twile, and he's still not doing that hot.
No, don't worry about him.
Well, that finishes off last week's games. We talked a bit about the players. We'll run through the team list in a minute, but it is round 7, and so that means this week we get 3 trades, and duels have updated. Now, pretty much the only duel that's actually interesting at the moment is Brimson got half added. No surprise there. And the other two are Hiroti got centre and Bailey Hayward got half. So not really relevant for duels, except if you have
That's
Brimson
boring
and
as
moving around.
fuck.
Yeah, it's nobody. Hey, there was like about 15 in round one.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Aitken doesn't have dual position. Like he's only been named at centre this season, and he is a guy that's played a lot of centre during his career. So that one is a bit of a head scratcher, but I mean, you can't complain too much.
Yeah, it's not like anyone's gone out and rushed in to buy him or anything.
No.
All right. Well, I suppose we'd actually better get on to these team lists, eh? So the Thursday game, we have Manly v. the Dragons, minus Christian Tuipulotu because he's done his hammy. So Matt Feagai has gone to the starting side. Dylan Egan's on the bench. He had an elbow concern, which looks like it's probably all good. Wouldn't be too surprised if he switches in for Leilua again.
Yeah, I hate when
I'll
coaches
still
do
play him
this.
on my 17.
I don't really understand why. Like they play the first game of the round as well. I'd be pretty convinced that Egan's going to start this game. So what's the point of naming him on the bench?
Even if he is on the bench, I'm sure he'll play enough minutes to be worthwhile. He's a hot hand at the moment, and I think the coach obviously recognises that, and I think he'll be rewarded for it.
Yeah, I mean, after the game, that was a real breakout game from him against the Titans. I don't know if he was the best player on the field, but geez, he gets through a mountain of work, and that try right at the end, really impressive player. Like this guy's got, as Flanagan said a few weeks ago, this guy has a massive, massive career in first grade ahead of him. He will play a lot of football.
He's got hustle.
There's a few good players coming up through the Dragons at the moment with the Couchmans and Egan and such. I'm really interested to see where they go.
Yeah. They all kind of look like similar players as well. Like Hamish Stewart's really good, Egan's really good. I mean, they both are from Gerringong. What are the odds of that happening? And then obviously the Couch Bros. There's a lot of upside in the future for the Dragons. While they don't have the squad this year to be competitive, they will in about 5 years. I reckon they'll be a very good side.
Maybe sooner than that.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Couch is already playing out of his skin.
Yeah, I think in a couple of years they'll start to keep it. It just depends on what backs they end up with. I'm very comfortable that in a couple of years' time their forward pack's going to be right up there, though.
Oh, absolutely. When the Cook, Gutho, and Holmes money starts to come in and they shift for some new talents, if they pick up the right ones in the spine and in the backs, they'll be really, really good.
Yeah, they need to get rid of Lockie Elias. They need to get rid of Elias. He's fucking awful.
Yep.
Only change for Manly is that Saab is back. So Clayton Faulalo goes back to the reserves. I don't know who to pick in this one, to be honest. The Dragons probably... I would usually pick the Seagulls, but I almost... What's the record of the Dragons against the Seagulls?
Dragons 23 wins, Manly 13. Yeah. So they're I'd lean St George because of no turbo, but it could really go either way. Manly don't really excite me without Tom Trbojevic. There's a lot of mediocrity in this team.
Yeah. It just felt like this was a good matchup, and I couldn't figure out why. So yeah, that history is interesting actually. But yeah, I might go Dragons this week. See how it goes.
Yeah, I think Manly are a team that sort of like when a team really brings it to them, they're not great. Like they're real flat track bullies. When they're ahead, they're a really hard side to stop. Don't get me wrong. That Canberra game, for example, when Corey Horsburgh gets sin bin, they score 4 tries in like 10 minutes and the game's over. But whenever they've had to do it tough, they don't really stick in there. They kind of just get beat. Like what happened with Cronulla. Cronulla weren't playing particularly well, and they still got the job done, which is they really should have won that game, Manly.
Manly don't have
Cronulla off the 5 to 8th rather than off the top 4.
They don't have the forward pack to fucking get the job done when another forward pack comes and fucking gives it to them, because they just don't have the best forwards. And then when that happens, Olakuatu's not like, he can be fantastic, but he's one of those guys that he's never going to stand up and perform in a game when his mates around him in the pack aren't performing. He'll just fucking sink down with them.
He is a bit like early career Kickout, where they sort of just pass him the ball when they don't know what else to do. Like, just pass it to the big bloke in the back row. And look, don't get me wrong, he scores tries and creates points, but that's really all Manly have at the moment. There's not a lot else going on. He's probably their best forward by a long way. But it's really just pass it to Hamoli and pray he does something at the moment.
Yeah, it's either that, or if there's a gap, pass it to one of the really quick guys and get a try. If Kula and Saab weren't so crazy fast, I reckon they'd be a lot worse off.
Yeah, it's clearly part of their game plan, though, is that they love throwing it side to side, especially early in the tackle count. And it really throws sides off. There were probably a couple of plays where Garrick made half breaks or got a couple of tackle breaks because they gave him like opportunities to cut back in when defenders were sliding, and that's why he got like a trialist 55. So they do use their outside backs quite well.
Yep. Toby Couchman, he's now just under 700k. He's probably not a buy anymore, right? He's great, but he's now priced at 50 plus.
The combination of the fact that he's now quite expensive, and he's not 100% healthy. He's carrying something wrong with his knee. As you see with the strapping, and you've seen when he went off in the last game. His knee might not fucking turn into a big issue, but it's enough for me to not want to pay 690k to get on.
It'd be a very costly mistake if he goes down injured. But what I heard was that he played last week sick as a dog, like could barely stand up after the game.
And he has got a knee issue on top of that.
Yeah.
Don't know exactly the nature of it, but it's there.
Yeah. What an effort, though, to score that in 51 minutes. What a legend.
Yep.
Yeah.
So happy hold, but I think last week was the last week to get on.
Yeah. I think that's dead right. Good Friday matchup with the Doggies and the Bunnies. We've got Kickow listed in the reserves for the Dogs. Harry Hayes goes out because Matt Burton comes in. So this will be quite an interesting game, I think, with sort of Trell at 5'8", Burton back in. Should be a very unusual battle. Campbell Graham's back in on the wing. Jack Whiten's still in the centres, and Aiken's still in the centres. So almost feels like they should be shuffling based on who the names are, but I wouldn't be surprised if it stays like that. Oh yeah, and Dodds at 14, so that should be interesting coming in on halfway through the game.
Yeah, it is very good for Hubner. That bench is pretty solid. Look, Hubner's certainly earned his stripes in this side. Bennett loves him. He's done well basically every game he's played, apart from that miss on Purdue for the try last week, which was a real annoying one to watch.
Yeah, that one was a bit of a shocker, but the rest is not too bad.
Yeah, this will be an interesting game. I think Bulldogs win comfortably, but eyes on Burton. I think Burton is the real interesting half option over Origin, more so than almost anyone else. Like, he's a 57 average with Sexton in the side, and with the Dogs going as well as they are, you can probably see a lot of attacking stats from him. So hopefully he doesn't score too high. He's break-even 73 at the moment.
Yeah, I'm waiting to buy him. I've been waiting for him to come back. As soon as his bottom break-even fucking sort of hits 55 or lower, I'm going to pull the trigger and get him. I reckon in a fortnight's time, I'll probably own him.
Yeah, I rate that.
He's quite a fun one as well. He could score in different ways. quite decent to watch. I think he'll be a great pickup soon.
Yeah, and Bulldogs,
obviously amazing over the buys. Over the buys.
Yep. All 3 major bye weeks he plays through. So if he misses the Origin team, that will be fantastic.
Which I do think he will miss, unless they pick him as the 6, but they probably won't. I don't think they'll pick him as 18th man again. I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
They're not going to want the drama.
Yep. I think that's pretty much about it. All the relevant guys everybody has in his holding. Oh, Preston.
Yeah. You got to call Preston. I've got him. I think he's still a buy. Fucking, he'll be great over Origin, assuming he doesn't get picked. And I don't think he will, because I think that there's at least 3 second rowers that'll get picked ahead of him in Angus, Martin, and Hudson Young.
Yeah, Hudson Young's on a hot streak.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Preston. He's a gun. I'd worry about this game as a non-Preston owner. This could be one where he goes really big.
I got the VC juice on him this week.
It didn't work for me with Tom Jenkins last week, but he's in for a big season. There's no rush to buy him at his price. Like, he's kind of like, the upside's maybe 50k extra on top of what he is. Hopefully he has a down game between now and Origin.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Fifita week, it'd be Preston time. But yeah, he can play second fiddle to Fifita, and then we can figure out what to do from there.
Yep. That's about it from this game.
Yep, sounds good. All right, Finns versus Storm, fresh off a big score of the Warriors and a big score for Hammer in his other corresponding game. It's kind of just pick and stick with the Dolphins. If you went Katoa as a bit of a pod, that's fine. You're not trading him in or out, really. Plath is a watch and wait. Gilbert's probably not great at edge, and if you still have him, he's guy to move on to Fifita, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. The only player I'm interested in either team, and it would be a very short-term play, is Ryan Pappenhausen. He's got 2 massive matchups coming up in terms of Melbourne are going to score a lot of points with the Finns and South coming up. Melbourne traditionally flog South every time they play them. 7 goals the last 2 weeks as well. Again, short-term only, unless he keeps the goal kicking when Nick Meaney's back, which is probably unlikely, but there's a chance.
Yeah, I don't think I'll buy anyone. I don't think anyone in this game is buy as such.
No,
not this week anyway.
Hopefully, Jerome Hughes scores less than 65 or so we can get him nice and cheap.
Yep, we'll be getting him cheap in a couple of weeks. We'll talk about him again then. He's going to be a red hot buy soon enough.
Yeah, sounds good. Warriors and Broncos on this next Saturday game. CNK is out with concussion protocols. Berry's out and with the suspension. And poor old Fisher Harris with an injured pec is also missing. So we have Jackson Ford at starting prop, Halasima on the edge, Tamara Martin sitting on the bench, and Tuapiki goes to fullback. So does this make Halasima an interesting option now? Because if Tamara Martin stays on the bench and, I don't know, like Laban drops out instead of having so many back rowers on the bench, I'd be actually quite interested.
I don't think so. I think Capel goes back to second row next week when Clockstad's back.
Yeah, he will.
So this is a short-term thing, and I fear for what the Broncos are going to do to the Warriors in this game. It's not a great lineup they've listed, especially Capewell on the centres. Like he misses a lot of tackles at the best of times in the second row. I think it'd be Stagg. It doesn't really matter. Either side's going to carve him up this week. I'm actually captaining Payne Haas. I think this is a really good matchup for him. A lot of tackle breaks, I would imagine, with Fish out. I wouldn't have captained him if Fish was still on the team. I'll say that. but I think it'll be a very soft middle, something that I can see him running over Aaron Clark 3 or 4 times this game.
Yeah, it's a solid shout.
I think Aaron Clark's a good buy.
I don't.
He's someone that
I don't think he gets the minutes. He only got 42 minutes last week when your big minute front row went down very early into the game. I don't really see it with him.
Love this bench for him, though.
He's. I compare him to Alex Seyfarth, and fun fact: him and Alex Seyfarth are the exact same price.
I don't see that. He's actually playing pretty good footy, man, and he's getting stats in different ways. He's getting a lot of run meters every single game. He's getting some tackle busts, some offloads. I think he's playing good footy. He looks good to me when I'm watching him. I don't see the Seyfarth comparison at all. I think you're being pretty harsh on him.
You can help yourself to Aaron Clark if you think he's good, mate. He's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Who does benefit from fish out? It has to be Barnett's minutes will stay high. Does somebody like Ford go up? Or it seems like it'll probably get shared around a bit. But does Barnett become that big minute guy?
Ford was getting pretty decent minutes. Now that he's starting, he'll get a little bit more. And then at least one person on the bench will get a bit of a boost up. Could be that. What's his name? Dimitri or some shit? Fucking.
Dimitri Vaimunga.
So he might be able to get a consistent 35 minutes and get 30 points a game. So he could actually be a pretty decent cash out, to be honest.
Oh, I'm not touching anyone in this
not
Warriors
really
team.
hot, but
Yeah. There might be someone that ends up being a benefactor, but good luck guessing who that is. And I think Savala's the red hot cash out. I don't think you should be really considering anyone else.
Yeah, well, his break even is not even red hot. If you do want to if you do think it's going to be Dimitri, then now's the time to do it because he's got a break even of like 0. So and it's like 278k. So if you don't get him at this price, he won't be worth it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One other bit of news for this game. Jack Gajewski's busted his arm, so he's out for 8 weeks. Who's going to... it'll just be Piakura. It'll just be Piakura coming back in for Jaden Hunt, won't it?
Yeah, so there might be Piakura season next week. He's like 230k or something, isn't he? He finds ways to... You know how some players find ways to score points? He finds ways to not score points. Like it's an art form with him. He's averaging 11 points in 5 games. That's kind of crazy for a back rower.
Yeah, he's budget Alex Seyfarth.
Yeah. Well, I'd still maybe take the punt on him if he gets the start next week.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I know you've got war scars with him.
I mean, like, if it gets to the time and he's clearly a good buy, then I'll consider it. But I'm not going out of my way to pre-plan fucking getting in Piakura ahead of time.
No, that's fair. Just look at him. Look at his picture, mate. He means business. He's scoring a solid 32 next week.
Oh, fucking cunts that wear headgear don't mean business.
I'm sure there's a few Warriors blokes in the past that have been real tough bastards that have worn headgear. No one really comes to mind, but I can remember one at least.
Paliacina, I think, might have.
Yeah. Like the real old school guys, like the early 2000s Warriors side that used to just bash everyone.
Back when we actually used to be big. And then for years afterwards, the commentators would be like, oh, the big Warriors pack. And it's like, fuck, we're not even big anymore, can't they? That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like when Joey Johns mentioned, the Storm can be, the Warriors are a bit of a bogey team for the Storm. I was like, yeah, back in 2010, like fucking, none of those players from either team are around anymore.
They won 17 straight. Storm have won 17 straight games.
But anyway,
it's crazy.
We're certainly not the bogey team
Yeah. Last Saturday game, Roosters v Panthers. Mark Nwanga managed to get his way back in because Billy Smith managed to get himself suspended after scoring 2 nice tries, plucking one straight out of the hands is going over. Beautiful stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out whether I hold him for one more week before I sell him or not. I'm probably just going to sell him anyway. And Toya's topping out. Is he ever going to score? Nwanga Nidawase.
Oh, yeah. If you've still got him, definitely hold him now.
Yeah.
I traded him out the moment he wasn't playing the first time. But, yeah, no, he's not the worst.
Yeah. I'd love Toya to score some points, though.
Yeah, he just needs to get a fucking try, bro. Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be like a Kaolira situation, and then like he'll go from not scoring at all to like scoring some and then be booming. He'll be all right, surely.
Who do you guys think wins this game?
Who knows?
It is that tough to pick. I remember was it round 2 that they played each other? Penrith are going to like flog them by 60. There's no way the Roosters keep up with them. Penrith haven't won a game since.
I know. I think it's pretty difficult to take a strong stance on a game like this. Like,
it's two really hit and miss sides.
Whoever plays the least shit will probably win.
I can really see this being a point shootout like the last one was. Like I kind of think both teams' defense is optional at the moment. Hopefully Jenkins. Is it Jenkins on Dom Young? Fuck, that is such a mismatch. He's got like 3 feet on him.
I'm not playing Jenkins this week.
No, neither.
No, not after last week.
To be fair, he still scored a 28 in a game where
28, but didn't he have like 2 turnovers with that or something? It's when they're not going to pass in the ball, I just don't like it.
Yeah. Well, it's the same sort of issue that I had with fucking with Tamale, is that the problems from the last 2 weeks with Jenkins are still there, and they're not going anywhere for a little bit. Like, he's still going to have a centre inside him that's fucking not going to pass him the ball enough. The ball's just, he just has to fucking find ways to score to make a bit of money. But I don't know. I'm not too excited about him anymore, unless he ends up at centre when To'o's back, in which case I'll be interested to see how he goes again.
I actually might trade him next week, depending on how he goes in this game. Like, obviously, if he goes 40 plus and his break-even's low again, I won't. But another 30 or 20 or something, like, I'm much more inclined to hold Rob Toya and Tamale than I am to hold Tom Jenkins. Like, at least they've shown when they have the chance they can score really big, whereas I think Jenkins has been... He's not a traditionally big scorer. He does score all right when he grabs tries, but like you said, when he's got Casey McLean inside him, he won't pass the ball. And I'm not convinced Brian To'o doesn't just take his spot, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I think you might be right, because if that was going to happen, why the fuck wouldn't he just be playing centre right now?
Yeah, exactly right.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with him. But I absolutely would trade him before I trade Toya. Like, Toya's got a 30-point base.
39 average with 0 tries is pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, he gets 30 just out of tackles and run meters.
He really should have had a turnover tackle last week as well. That's one of the most clear-cut ones I've ever seen.
I have no intentions of trading him out before fucking round like 19 or so.
Yeah, he's good. I like him. Hopefully he scores a few tries.
Yeah.
Plays all the major buys. Like, even if he stops making money, I'm just happy to sit on them long term. Not every single one of your players has to be making a bunch of money fucking 24/7. There are other aspects of fantasy to consider. It's not who makes the most money wins. Might feel like that at times, but it's not.
Yeah, and look, the only real upgrade center options are probably like Bo Firma and Herbie Farnworth. And Herbie Farnworth is absolutely not a priority until maybe round 12. I think the Dolphins' by schedule's pretty good, but he's also 750k in an out-and-out center. So there's no rush to get guys like that in. And Toya can absolutely do a job.
I mean, yeah, like someone like Herbie, just wait till round 12 and hopefully he's a little bit cheaper. I mean, he's not going to be a lot more expensive anyway, so there's no hurry.
Yeah, exactly right.
And you may as well, if you've got Toya in your team, you may as well just play Toya in round 12.
Yeah.
What's the point of trading him out?
Yep. Toya is going to be one that scores whatever for us until he doesn't, and we've got way better players in our team to trade him up. Yeah. These other Roosters blokes, you know what they're doing. White's topping out, but he's not.
They're all holds.
They're not the worst hold. Wong, him, Watson, they're all just kind of there.
Yep. Yeah, we don't need to speak on them so much. None of them are buyers. None of them are sells. No. They're just holds.
Mm-hmm. One guy I have my eye on in this pack is actually Victor Radley. If he gets below 500k, I think he is a very, very solid buy. Obviously, you need to hope that he doesn't cop another head knock, but he's a proven scorer and he's quite cheap at the moment with dual position. And like you guys have said, fantastic buys, no risk of origin because he's a POM apparently. So I would keep an eye on him.
One way or another, that cunt never seems to work out though.
I remember I had him 1 year and he was quite good.
How long ago was it?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. A while ago, for sure. It wasn't his first season, though.
He's almost he's almost the new Mitch Orbison. He's like, oh, will it be the Victor Radley year this year? Probably not.
But Orbison did have a few years, so you can never write him off.
If you somehow do end up with Radley, I wouldn't do it before a fucking around 10 buy, though.
No. Yeah. Alrighty, we'll move on to the Sunday games. Titans v Raiders. Some ins for the Titans. Tino's back. Joseph Fifita's on the wing. So again, we see Fermor starting at edge. Probably. Will he move to centre? Hopefully not. And Fifita's starting again. So good stuff there. On the Raiders side, Hosking is back into the team on the bench. Smithies is named at lock. And Nicholson is still in that edge spot. So we'll see if there's any shuffling come game day or maybe next week. But pretty much as per program. Tamales, as we've just discussed, probably more of a hold than Jenkins. And guys like Starling Starling managed to save himself for a little bit. But yeah, just keep an eye on him.
Do either of you have Nicholson?
Nope.
No.
Okay, irrelevant question then. But I would think that there's a good chance that his minutes gets hurt with Hosking back one way or another. Whether that means that Hosking comes in and starts on game day or otherwise, I'm not too sure. But he actually played lock for most of the game on the weekend. If you watched the Parramatta Raiders game, when he came back on after his HIA, Sasangi played the game out on the edge and he played in the middle. So I don't know whether that's a sign of things to come. Like, is Hosking going to come on, play edge, and Nicholson move to the middle? Or and I'm a little concerned over Horsburgh's minutes as well. He only was in the 40s last week. Obviously, his PPM's fantastic. But one to look out for. Someone in that pack is going to get hurt by the return of Hosking. I'm not sure who it is yet.
Fucking, I'll worry about Hoss if he actually becomes a problem. At this point, he's just in the mid-50s score, and I won't worry about him until he becomes a problem.
Yeah, I do think he plays Origin with Corey Horsburgh. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't make the side.
I'll probably just hold him up until round 12, and if he's named in Origin, I'll flick him off. Is what most likely I'll end up doing.
Yeah.
There's not too many buys in this Raiders team. Like Fogarty was good last week. He still exists this week, but now you've got other options as well. Like Burton's coming shortly. So the only real huge buy in this game is, of course, one David Fifita, and JZ, you got in early.
Oh no, he's a horrible buy. Everyone should avoid him. He's really bad. He's probably going to get benched for Cleese, so avoid him at all costs. No, of course, David Fifita is like I said earlier in the pod, one of the best edge fantasy players of all time. And I have a weird feeling the Titans will be closer in this game than sort of meets the eye, and if they are, it'll be because guys like Fifita are causing chaos or carnage on the outskirts. So. Look, you can't go wrong buying a 650k David Fifita. I know people who would consider buying Fifita at 800k. So, like Eddie said, he's never going to get this cheap again. I don't know if it's now or never. Like, you could definitely still get him next week if you have other priorities, but seems a good a time as any to buy David Fifita.
I can't imagine there's many people in situations where they've got so many other priorities in a 3-trade week they can't manage to get Fifita, and just get him.
I agree with that. He's a bit of a no-brainer.
Just get him. Sitting there and waiting's not the play. No. He's a buy. JC's a buy. Every other relevant one in this game is just a hold. I think that's pretty simple.
Pretty straightforward. The other Sunday game, Knights v Sharks. Is Ponga a sell with the Knights playing the way they are, or are we just waited out?
No, he's a buy soon. Don't sell players that are about to become buys in 3 weeks, man.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I would like to see us play good footy before even thinking about buying him. We're probably the worst team in the competition right now, and that's in a comp that includes Parramatta.
Just once he bottoms out, whenever that is, and whatever that gets to, I'm sure it's going to be quite a lot lower than it is now still. I'd just pick him up because, see, I'm way more confident of a Ponga bounce back than I am with Walsh. Like I do think Ponga will bounce back to being a gun, whereas I don't think Walsh will.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if in like 3 weeks Ponga's like 580k and his break even's like fucking 46 or some shit, fucking just get on at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we know what Ponga can do. He's one of the top fantasy wing fullbacks, has been for years. Things need to turn around for Newcastle, but I will say that his run of fixtures becomes really bad, really fast in a couple of weeks. I'd still hold him until I think it's round 12 where he gets really bad. But yeah, I wouldn't be buying him.
Not now.
I probably wouldn't buy him before Origin, generally speaking.
We'll just see what happens with his price and break even across that bridge when we get there. He's obviously not a buy this week, and he won't be a buy next week. That's all we need to worry about for now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, we talked Greg Marzu to death while we were doing the round review. He's just going to do Greg Marzu things. Hopefully he learns to catch a ball.
He's not going to.
I think Cronulla have a pretty bad kicking game, so they're not going to trouble him as much as other teams will. I think this is actually a sneaky good matchup for him. They're not the best defensively either. Like he just needs to stay involved.
Any kicking game is hard for him. He'd have a fucking struggle playing fucking force back with your nan down at the local park, mate.
You're probably not wrong. I think we've talked about him to death, though. I think this is a good game for him. If he doesn't perform in this one, I'd consider hopping off, though.
And she's been dead for years.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm really not excited by basically anybody else in this. Like Hines is hitting 50s, but that's a 50, not a 60. And that's, at this point, we're just waiting for other options.
Yeah, Hines. If he gets a 6 in front of his fucking price, then I might start to consider it.
Yeah, I think he's a bit like what I said about Nicara earlier, in the sense that Cronulla will come good come the end of the season, and I think they'll get a bunch of wins late, but you'd need to see them actually doing it before you want to buy someone like Hines. He started last week. I think he had 20 points in about 15 minutes and then just did nothing the rest of the game. It's strange. He's very patchy at the moment. He's not playing good footy on the field, and Cronulla are playing accordingly.
Yeah. So just keep watching. Keep watching.
Did he only take one kick at goal last week? Oh, two kicks at goal, right? I'm just looking at the stats now, and he only has 2 goals, but they had 24 points. So maybe he's still plagued by an injury. No, he kicked him. Oh no, they
had 5
two
tries.
conversions.
They had 5 tries, so
right.
2 conversions.
So he just said a horror.
Maybe he'll just maybe he'll lose them. But no.
Yeah, well, God, that's bad.
Trindle's a pretty handy goal kicker himself.
Yeah,
Trindle's great. I love Trindle. He's such a good player.
I think in games where one of them's kind of got a niggle, the other will just take it, and it's not going to be a problem. But most of the time, Nico will have it.
Trindle's one of those sort of fun players when, if you look at him, you wouldn't really be able to tell that he was a fucking elite athlete. Like fucking.
No, yeah, that's a good shout. He really looked like a bloke you'd meet down the pub or playing like Park Oztag or something.
Like fucking not a particularly good fucking hairline, fucking not a particularly good rig, doesn't look that athletic, like, but then he plays pretty good footy. Yeah.
What a great player, yeah. I love him.
Like he's even got a little bit of it. Looks like he's got a little bit of a belly on him, like.
He does, yeah. I've actually noticed that in the past. It's pretty funny.
No, there's just something about his body. It's sort of like an overgrown dwarf or something. Like, I don't know why it's wrong. What did he do to piss me off? Nah.
Yeah, he's turned into a pretty good player the last 18 months.
Yeah, he's handy.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then we finish off this pod. We'll go with the Monday game, the Easter Monday, Tigers v the Eels, and we saved the best for last because we have a distinct lack of Lachlan Galvin this week because spats and club statements and everything, and he's just gone.
Oh, fuck, hold up. Just before we do that, with the Knights, I probably should have brought this up because one of the guys I'm heavily considering purchasing this week, we didn't even speak about, Leo Thompson. I'm actually seriously considering getting him as a JFH replacement this week. He scored pretty good, eh?
Is that with all the middles basically dying?
Yeah, but that's an ongoing issue too. Like, it's not about to come right.
Yeah, I mean, I said this to you on Discord. I don't hate him. If I needed a middle, I would have strongly considered him last week. Obviously, not a priority.
He's making 50s in base at the moment, just out of tackles and run meters alone.
Because he's a handy player. Like he's not bad.
And he doesn't have a buy until round 18. So and round 12 middles are quite hard to come by at the moment. I'm really heavily considering buying him. I definitely think he's a solid option for people looking for a middle this week, because there's not heaps of great buys in the middle this week. Sorry to interrupt. I just thought I was considering that there's a high chance that I'm getting him, and I should probably at least mention his name.
Well, other than his injury game in round 2, he scored 55 and 52, 55 and 72, and 56 and 58. So if he keeps getting 50-plus minutes and scoring 50s, that's nice.
He definitely is. He's definitely going to get the minutes. Whether or not he maintains, this is a career high PPM for him, so whether or not he maintains that, I'm not sure. But I think it's like his 4th season, and I think it's quite common for middles to sort of start coming into their own around this point. So maybe he's just continuing to break out, because he started to break out last year, and maybe this is just him going up another level again. But
Do you know what it is?
He's not a slam dunk, and he's probably more 5 points value than 10 points value. But with no bias to 18 and not a lot of great middle options at the moment, especially for round 12 availability, I think he's definitely a strong candidate.
You know what it is, though?
What?
He turns 25 in about 6 weeks, so he's entering that magical physical prime.
Yeah, he's getting there. I think you ask any middle forward, they say they don't really start to peak until mid to late 20s, and unfortunately we've let him go to the Bulldogs. But
unless they're paying Haas.
Yeah, unless you're paying Haas. I mean, there are exceptions to every rule, and that guy is quite possibly the biggest exception to any rule. He's a freak of nature.
Yeah, not everybody just belts out all of a sudden when they turn 25, but it is definitely the time where they are going to hit their best footy, that time of life. So it wouldn't surprise me if he keeps it up.
I mean, Haas is 25 and he's playing arguably career best footy right now. So
there you go.
that's the case.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll talk about these Tigers now, because Safe Arthur's lived, although he's not living in my team. Skelton's hurt his hammy, and Lachlan Galvin has pissed off everybody and isn't named. And we've got Adam Doueihi listed in 7. Will he actually play 7, or is he just going to play Doueihi things and Luai's going to do Luai things?
I think the second thing, I think it doesn't matter what number's on it, the back.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think Jerome Luai, even with the 7 on his back, wasn't like a true 7. They shared the playmaking responsibility, and Doueihi's too much of a ball hog to not touch the ball a ton. I think he's a very solid player, but he's a very selfish player, Adam Doueihi.
He is.
He doesn't like passing.
Imagine how cheap Luai is going to get with Doueihi the ball hog there.
It might actually help Luai, because Doueihi's got a good kicking game, and I think that's one area Luai's actually struggled with. So it might allow him to run the ball a bit more. Whereas if you watch the way Luai played with Galvin was just running around doing whatever the hell he wanted, and it sort of limited Luai's creativity. Very few offloads this season when he's a guy that traditionally throws a lot, and his run meter's way down until last week. So it might help unlock Luai a bit. He's not a buy. I'm not going that far, but yeah.
It'll probably help them on fifth tackle options as well, because his kicking game strength is especially on the attacking kicks, because he's got one of the best bombs in the business. It's just hard for him to he just doesn't really get to do it much when he's at centre. But in case you've forgotten, he's got a fucking Matt Burton-like bomb.
Yeah, someone was saying to me before, he's like a 60 average at 5'8", and even though he's got the 7 on his back, he's going to be playing like a 5'8".
It's old stats, but it is 60. That's sort of in years like 2023 being the most recent. But I think a lot of his best stuff was sort of early 2020s. But I expect he'll be a 50-plus sort of guy, though, because he's like Galvin, and he scores in a lot of ways when he plays in the half. So he'll make a decent amount of tackles. He'll make a good amount of run meters because he's greedy. So he can make like 150 run meters regularly. He'll get his share of kick meters. Is he kicking goals at the moment? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's
a goal kicker.
When he plays 6, he tends to offload the ball a little bit, similar to Galvin. So, I think he'll probably score similar to how Galvin was scoring.
Yeah, and I think one thing to note,
like 38 or 36 or some shit.
I don't know, but one thing to note is that he probably has a 5-week runway where he definitely has a half position. It's pretty clear that Galvin's not coming back. The players came out and basically said, we refuse to play with this bloke. So, but when that 5 weeks is up and Latu Fainu's back, if he wins the spot, it's a pretty easy straight trade down to him. So, to me, Adam Doueihi is a no-brainer. You should be buying him this week.
I did see the article about how some senior players, including Luai and Coruscant, said they didn't want to play this week. I noticed there wasn't a direct fucking quote of what they said or anything though, so I do still wonder, like, is that, like, the media would like to sort of say it in a dramatic way, like, did they go in and like say like, nah, we're not happy with this camp and we don't want him in the fucking team at all, or did they go in and say, oh, just with the fucking dramas going on at the moment, maybe having a week or two fucking away from the limelight could be good, because there's a big fucking difference between those two things.
I don't know, man. Have you seen Jerome Luai's recent Instagram post? It's
No,
a
I haven't.
picture. It was like a
I don't have
picture of
Instagram.
some dude, and it says "Team First."
Oh,
So I don't know.
Okay. Well, okay. So it's probably not that then.
Yeah, I don't think he likes him. I think that one sort of gives it away. Yeah, I think Galvin's as good as gone at the Tigers.
It's not overly cryptic, is it?
No, it's not at all.
the club statement was no good either. It was like the most catty. Like, if it wasn't like had to be semi-professional, it would have just been an absolute bashing, and it still wasn't very professional.
The nerve of him. The nerve of Galvin to come out and say, I'm just looking out for the club by telling them I'm not interested at all and that the coach sucks. Like, come on, man. Well, I get it's a PR statement, but fuck it.
It's too late.
He should sack his manager for what he's done. He's absolutely had everything blow up in his face. And it's probably going to cost him. If the Tigers decide to be really petty, it could cost him 2 years of his first grade career. I don't think that'll happen. I mean,
the next year.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck! I thought it was up under.
It's not even at the end of 25. It's just, I'm leaving at the end of 26, and then he said all this stuff.
Oh man,
Just,
some of these player managers, fucking, they're treating this kid's life like it's a fucking toy, eh?
Yeah, he's 18 years old. He was playing first grade.
Yeah.
Mind you, in a wooden spoon side, yeah, he looked all right, but fuck, man. How entitled are you to think that you're bigger than this club, especially with the way they're playing this season? All the players they've bought, the Tigers look like they're actually like ready to give the competition a shake. They're not going to win it, but they're competitive.
They got this 19-year-old kid that's got no life experience and a fucking manager in his ear telling him that he's the shit and he's never going to fucking make it if he stays there and he needs to fucking go somewhere else and we'll get you some money at this place. Like, is it that Moses cunt?
Yep.
Yeah, it's Isaac Moses.
Fuck, no wonder all the fucking clubs hate that cunt, eh? He's always pulling shit, eh?
The Roosters refuse to deal with him. That's how big of a. Unfortunately, Newcastle have a lot of Isaac Moses clients, but yeah, he's certainly got a lot of clubs offside.
Yeah, well, that narrows it down too. If Galvin does get
like he's a
kicked
cunt.
off really quick, because if there's not going to be the Roosters, surely it's a pretty hot shot of just a really early Dylan Brown tonight's Galvin back to Eels or something.
You'd think so.
Oh, fucking. The Tigers should just fucking find someone that's going to give them a fucking decent player swap. Look, we're not releasing you for free. Get fucked. We'll put you in reserve grade before that happens. But look, you're obviously fucking talking to some other club. Tell us who it fucking is. We'll have a fucking yarn to them, and we'll say and see what the fuck we can get in return. Because obviously you're just going to be a cunt now, so we may as well get something for the fucking trouble.
I don't even know that Galvin
Which is what the fucking Warriors should have done with AFB last year if we had a fucking set of nuts. Should have said to Cronulla, like, sure, what are you going to give us? Oh, you're offering nothing? Well, fuck you, then you're not having AFB. And then suddenly they're going to give you something that you might want. Because he must have a fucking club in mind.
I don't think he's on that much money on his current contract.
Yeah, but he's going, that's true, but he's going to be on his next one.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The Tigers could just be real petty because he's not exactly taking up a lot of cap right now. They were going to extend him for next year and up his deal, but I think he's still on a relatively small contract where they could just banish him.
But wherever he's going, like that place might really fucking want him, and fucking they might be willing to offer up something that's of use instead of nothing.
Mm.
Sometimes you want to put pettiness aside and fucking see what, like, actually think what you can best get out of a situation, and maybe you can get a fucking player that you need.
Yeah.
We should give
Sure,
them Ryan Madison instead.
Yeah, it's a real bad look for him, and wherever he goes, he's going to be offside with the fan base, with everyone. It's real bad.
Especially because he's a young cunt as well. So like automatically people are going to go, oh, fucking arrogant, fucking young cunt, fucking blah, blah, blah. But I do think there's a bit of fucking, like, there's a fucking 19-year-old with no life experience that's fucking getting bad advice from the fucking player manager that's supposed to be there to guide him. And that's the problem with fucking player managers in professional sports is fucking they care about themselves a lot more than they care about the players they represent. And one day he's going to fucking realize that. But that day,
I mean, the arrogance to tell the team that they don't even have a chance, and to say that a coach like Benji, look, I don't know anything about how Benji Marshall coaches, but just from a football perspective, he has the career of a 5'8" that 99% of players in the league would love to have had a career like Benji Marshall had. Very few players were as good as Benji. So to think that a guy like that couldn't teach you your trade as a 6, it's quite frankly like ridiculous.
Don't burn bridges on your way. It's the same as when you fucking quit your job to go to another job. Don't fucking walk around fucking telling all your co-workers that you're moving on to bigger and better things and fucking trash your fucking manager and that. Like, you might need fucking. You think fucking coaches and fucking don't talk to each other? You don't think fucking Benji will be fucking talking to fucking Craig Bellamy or whoever the fuck one day and just be like, oh, bro, you don't want this cunt. He's a dick, bro. Fucking, he's going to cause you nothing but fucking problems. Don't give him $1 million.
I'm pretty sure that happened with Terrell May and the Bulldogs. Like, it's probably a bad example given how good Terrell May has been, but he had a handshake deal to join the Dogs, and they pulled out last minute almost with no reason. And the Roosters let go of him with no known reason. So I think there's a good chance that was someone at the Chooks calling up the Dogs and saying, no, this guy's nothing but trouble.
I mean, these blokes, these coaches know each other. Fucking, like,
half of them take turns going to different clubs.
I don't think there's going to be a fucking reference check, especially, but you don't even need one after this situation. You just look and be like, okay, well, it's just like when you go into a job interview, you don't fucking start trashing your previous employer to your potential employer, because all the potential employer hears from that is, oh, okay, so this cunt has problems with the people he works for. He's probably going to be a problem for us also.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, whichever way he's treated it, he's basically gone about it the worst way possible, and it's going to bite him and probably everybody else.
I just made him look like a dick.
Yeah, really silly stuff.
Yeah. That about wraps us up pretty much, because on the Eels side, there's nobody that I care about so much. Katolga's making nice money. Don't buy Moses. Yeah, don't buy Moses week 1 in an Eels team that's in 17th. Don't do it.
No way. Absolutely not. Always give them a week, fucking, when they come back from injury. Always give it a week.
I don't hate it.
At least.
Mitch Moses is one of my guys, and he's just a guy. Like, I don't know how to explain it other than he's all vibes. He's all vibes all the time. It wouldn't surprise me if Parramatta win this game and he kicks a field goal or something like that. He absolutely owns the Tigers at Bankwest as well.
Yeah, if I wasn't convinced that he would be alongside Cleary or a really, really high risk for it in Origin, I'd seriously consider getting him at some point,
Not
but
this week.
not when he's got a round 8 bye and round 7 is the injury return week.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I'm not doing it, but I could make a case for it.
I don't know if you could, man. Well, you didn't just make a very good case. All you used was the word vibe heaps. You sounded like the lawyer from the castle.
Hey, mate, who started the year with Toby Couchman for no reason other than vibes?
It's Marb. It's the vibe.
Alex Seyfarth, down vibes. Toby Couchman, up vibes.
One day he's gonna find this bloke, this bloke, and he's gonna be like, "Nah, he's got bad vibes," and buy him. And he's like, "Nah, I was telling you all it was terrible."
Dennis Denudo, that's who you fucking are. You're Dennis Denudo. That's his name, eh? You guys have seen that movie, right?
I haven't.
Really? Fuck, it's a fucking great Australian film. Dale Kerrigan. You guys haven't seen The Castle?
No, of course not. Funded.
Oh, yeah, Scoop's just a young little cunt, isn't he? That's too young for that one. It's Eric Banner's first movie.
I kind of just lagged out, I'll be honest, so I didn't really catch anything of what you just said.
All right, well, we're just talking shit now anyway. Let's log off.
Yeah, time to call it a day.
With Galvin, and... Yeah. All right. Catch us the Wednesday pod.
Cheer the fucking boys.